Hey, and welcome to the Don't Feed the Geeks presented by the Long Island Comic Guys. We're here today with TC, Zach, or what are we calling you now?
Bonus Jonas.
Bonus Jonas. And then we've got Zach just joined our team as Long Island Comic Guys. This is his basically his first or second show. And then we've got Toy Story Matt here and myself, JJ, here. And then we've got a very special guest with us today. We've got Mr. Billy Tucci. He is a local artist on Long Island. He is a patriot, and he is one of our good friends.
Yes. Welcome, Billy.
Welcome, Billy.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing good, sir.
Great to have you on.
And
Thank you for having me. Is my audio levels okay?
Oh, yeah. You sound great.
you sound good, sir.
Oh.
So let's get this started. One of the things we like to ask, artists that we bring on is your origin story. Like, how did you get into comics? Being an artist. And you can go as far back as you want.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I read comics as a kid, and then kind of lost it. High school. The end of junior high, all the way to high school, all the way to college. And then in my, I think it was my senior year in college, one of my professors showed me the Pander Brothers Grendel book with Christina Spar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that book. It's a great book.
Matt Wagner.
And yes, and it was illustrated by the Pander Brothers, and it's about Grendel's daughter. It's a futuristic story. And my teacher said, these guys draw like you. You should make comics. The way you draw and everything, you should make comic books. So I was like, oh yeah, man, I love comic books. That'd be cool. Let me get back into that and check it out. So I talked to one of my best friends. He's still one of my best friends, John Tartaglione. His father's a longtime Marvel inker, art director, illustrator, and he is like a mentor to me. And he's inked everything, and he penciled the Pope comic. I think the Pope John Paul II comic.
Oh, really?
I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he illustrated it, and I don't know if he wrote it, but I think he illustrated. Maybe Joe Sinnott inked it, or he did all the art. Oh, wow. And the thing is that I think that book came out in '82, and it sold something like 5 million copies, something like that. And then the year later, Marvel instituted their royalties program, so he got no royalties, so he just missed out on it. But I digress. Anyway, so he said, "Yeah, I think you could do this," and I'm like, and now I'm looking at George Perez pages and all these, Buscema pages and John Byrne and all these great, multi-character pages, panels, and all this stuff, buildings. And I'm like, well, how much of a paycheck would I get? What would I get paid to do this? He goes, oh, they'll probably start you out at $25 a page. And I was like, oh my God, $25. It'd take me a week to draw something like this. I'll starve. So, but needless to say, it totally rekindled me, the genre. I started picking up a lot of the old war books again. Then, Frank Miller's I love Daredevil, and the Frank Miller Daredevil, Born Again storyline, but all his, the whole Elektra saga, everything like that. And I just devoured it all. And then I said, I'll give it a shot. And I went out to San Diego Comic-Con in 1993 with my portfolio and pretty much got rejected by everyone. Actually, one of the editors from one of the big two actually looked at my portfolio, and I didn't know what to do. So they said, no, they said, yeah, you got to do it was a Malibu tryout page for Bruce Lee. I remember I saw the pages, and it's in a warehouse. That's what it was. It was a tryout story. So I went there, and one editor goes, oh my God, look at this. He goes, hey, Jimmy, to another editor. He goes, look at this, another effing warehouse story. If I see another warehouse comic, I'm going to punch the first guy that has it. Like us artists, they all waiting on lines. And everyone had like, it's comics. They fight in a warehouse. I don't know. That was the story I did. And he goes, next. You need to look at it then. Oh. So yeah. So it was embarrassing. And then I went and I went to the small press section, and I saw Brian Pulido sitting there on a 6-foot table with Stephen Hughes and Jason Jensen, Stephen was the artist for Lady Death, and Jason Jensen was the colorist, and they had their Evil Ernie comics. and there was no one around them, and they were sitting at this little 6-foot table, the three of them, and just built up a conversation with them. And me and Brian just hit it off immediately, and he really liked my stuff, and he said he'd like to offer me a pinup in his new character that's coming out. And I was like, oh, geez, thank you so much. And but I really liked it, and I was feeling really dejected by not getting any work. Went all the way out there. I had no money. Spent all this money, every last dime I had, to try to get into comics. And then I said, the hell with this. I'm gonna do my own book. And I started to work on the She story, and then I started doing the first pages of She, the Way of the Warrior, and then John Tartaglione, I showed it to him, my mentor, and he goes, "This is great." He goes, "I'm going to set you up a meeting with John Romita." So I actually went to the Marvel offices, and I went to John, and John Romita sat down with me, and he's looking at the first maybe 15 pages or so of She, the Way of the Warrior #1, and he's like, "What is this?" And I said, "Oh, it's my comic book. I'm putting out a comic book. I'm going to make my own comic, and I'm going to put it out in, this was probably then around October and November 1993." And I said, "No, I want to make my own comic. And this is the pages, and I'm telling the story." And he's just looking at me. He goes, "Wait a minute. You're going to make your own comic book. You're going to publish your own comic book." I'm like, "Yeah, full color." I didn't know what I was doing. And he goes, because he said, "This is terrific." And and then he said, "What the hell are you doing here then?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean? This is the brass ring. Marvel, DC, this is it. I want to draw Spider-Man." He goes, "You want to draw for Marvel when you're writing and drawing your own comic book that you're going to publish?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You know what? Go do your own book. Here's my phone number with my card. If it doesn't work out, you give me a call. You'll always have a place at Marvel. We'll always be able to find work for you at Marvel or something like that." He goes, "Do your own book." And then the rest was history. And I did that book, and it exploded, and that was that. And never really did anything for Marvel.
Wow.
Jimmy Palmiotti got me the job doing Dan Buckley. No, yeah. It was Heroes for Hire. Dan Buckley and Jimmy was writing Heroes for Hire for part of the Civil War, and that was the
covers.
that was the only thing I did for them was that. And but that was that. So that's how I basically got started, and then we just took off. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I went to the library to figure out how do you publish a comic book. I talked to retailers. I found out about Diamond. I called people at Diamond. I typed up a letter, stating I was this big company, though it was just me in my one-bedroom apartment with my wife, Deborah. Deb was like director of marketing for Crusade Comics, all this stuff, and basically fooled the world thinking we were a real publisher. And that first book hit, when She, the Way of the Warrior hit, man, it just exploded. I mean, I remember the book had to be returnable because I didn't know what I was doing. So I said, "Oh, we need a gimmick." So I said, "Glow in the dark cover." And then they don't make glow in the dark covers. So there was something that was in the chemical that they were legal to make at I was using Spartan printing at the time. And so I made it returnable. So the first week that book came out, and I got a box of returns. I think we got 300 returns for the book. And then, God, all of a sudden the reorders just started piling in. And I think it was within 3 or 4 weeks we had reorders for over 140,000 copies for that book.
Wow.
And it's just something I don't know, just something about it that it just hit at the right place at the right time. But there was a ton of trials and tribulations. I mean, everything that can go wrong did go wrong. My inker hijacked the pages, even though I said, "I can't really pay you." I said, "But if you work with me, I said, we'll partner up with this and stuff." He goes, "Yeah, I can't do that. I need to get paid. I can't deliver the pages." And he had like 10, 15 pages. So I scrape around with friends, and I borrowed money from friends and family, and ended up giving him whatever it was, $1,200 I owed him, and that was it for him. And he blew that one. But then I also had these partners. We'll go back. This is now the fall of 1993, and I met these partners who were really just charlatans. They were a pair of guys from New Zealand.
Great word, by the way.
Yeah. And, and I basically worked for them. I was their I was answering their phones. I was going to work in their office, which I was doing, trying to draw my book and writing the book. But I was really just like a glorified secretary for them. I'd go get them lunch. I'd answer the phones for them. I was sitting in the front. And basically they wanted 50% of the character. and that was the deal. And then my wife's aunt, thank God, works for one of the biggest lawyers in Manhattan. And they said, absolutely not. We came in and they just steamrolled them because it came to the point where we owed Diamond and Heroes World and Capital City $4,000 for the advertising because they took out ads in previews. And they used their credit card for it, and the credit card bounced. So they're like, well, we got to pay these ads. They're not going to release the numbers to us. And I remember the one guy said, he goes, Billy, if you think I'm going to spend $4,000 to advertise a comic book, you're out of your mind. Yeah, within a year, within 2 years, we had sold 1.5 million copies. So,
Wow.
Oh, well.
That's insane.
So, and then I did, and that was it. And, did She for close to 10 years. We did about 100 issues or close to 100 issues. Amongst other things, I published a whole lot of other comics and all. And then I just kind of got burnt out from it, and I want to do other things. And that's when the Heroes for Hire thing came along. And I've been doing stuff for DC and all. And I really love that, but I always wanted to go back to She, but I wanted the right story for it. And now I think I have it. So next month, the end of next month, we're going to launch via Indiegogo and probably Kickstarter. We might even do both of them simultaneously if they allow us to. Because some people only support Kickstarter and some people only support Indiegogo, I found out.
Yeah.
So why not give them both if I can?
Right.
But it's She, Return of the Warrior, and this is our 25th anniversary. So the book will be 25 years removed from the original Way of the Warrior storyline, and it's sort of a comic book grows up. Our lead, Anna Ishikawa, is now a mother raising her teenage daughter. Her husband is in jail. He was the police officer that was investigating the original She killings and stuff in the original story. And her warrior days are far behind her, and then it all comes back. So kind of cool, like a comic book grows up.
So how did that?
I'm really excited about that.
So how did you come up with the idea of She? So, I mean, was this something that you thought years ago, before you even published it?
Yeah, yes, I love samurai films. I really do. I love Toshiro Mifune. I love samurai films. Is that my reverb? Is that me?
I think that was me. You there?
Yeah,
That's good.
It's good?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's just a little echo going on. I was just trying to signal Jim without cutting anyone off.
Sorry, Tess. So, no, I just love samurai films. I guess I'm a bit of a Japanophile. And this is like in the late 80s when everything Japanese was popping up all over New York and stuff. And I just love that. I just thought it was so exciting, this amazing culture that, they take, making tea, to an art form, or raking, your rocks in your garden into an art form. But they're also the most violent, society that the world's ever known, with just with so much violence, and I just that's really interesting. So I had the character originally was a male character, and then just something happened when I came back from San Diego, and by then I had switched her off to a woman character, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this into a female book, and I was told Adam Post, who was the president of the Triumphant Comics, I approached him with She. This is all in the fall of 93, summer and fall of 93. And he's like, yeah, I'm not interested. Girl books don't sell. You know what I mean? Girl books with female leads don't sell. Huh. And I'm like, I think I could do this on my own. And that was it. And it just blew up. And I also love woodblock prints. And again, I just a big Toshiro Mifune fan, Akira Kurosawa fan, big history. If you look at my studio, like this entire bookshelf behind me is all Japanese, all about Japan. So, I become a reference fanatic, and I just totally excuse me, I got to blow my nose.
That's a first we've had on this podcast.
Allergies, this weather. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Bless you.
There we go.
Sorry. It's
You're
the
good.
spring. Oh, my God, pollen.
That's funny.
See, I promised I wouldn't curse or anything like that, but I can't promise I'm not going to sneeze.
Oh, you're fine.
Well, you already cursed.
I did curse already?
Yes.
It's okay.
We have a
the
Tucci
British
bomb.
charlatan.
Yes, the Tucci bomb. We got one already.
Hey, Billy, I wanted to ask you real quick before we go any further. What were the books that you grew up reading before you?
Yeah, I got to tell you, first I loved Ant-Man. I think because of the design. Sorry. I didn't sneeze all day.
You're fine.
But I loved Ant-Man, but I also loved, again, there's something about Daredevil always called to me, but I was a big monster fan. So I loved, probably my favorite growing up Marvel book was Werewolf by Night, by far.
Wow.
Awesome. I love Werewolf by Night. And then my second is obviously like, our Army at War, Sergeant Rock books. I like Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. It was all right, but I was a big fan of Rock, and all those books, Star Spangled War stories, our Army at War, the Sergeant Rock series. But that was it. Yeah. So for Marvel, it was Werewolf by Night, and for DC, it was Sergeant Rock.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your Sergeant Rock drawings. It's one of my favorites. I love you because you are obviously, and we said that you're an American patriot where you did serve in our military. So thank you for your service.
Oh, Michael, and thank you.
So what was your military background?
I was in the Army. I was airborne infantryman, just a grunt with a rifle. Then I went National Guard. So I was in the New York National Guard, went up to the Rhode Island National Guard. Loved it. I stayed in the National Guard because I joined after college. And then I was supposed to be an officer, but then that didn't work out. My recruiter lied to me. There was no slots for officers.
They always lie.
Yeah. So, but then again, I really loved being a part of the E4 Mafia. Which being a specialist or a corporal, and you don't have to be an NCO, and you could just skirt, man, with everything and get everyone to do stuff for you. But I also, because I didn't know if my comics career didn't take off, I would have went and been career, Army. That's what I would have wanted to do. And but I loved it. I miss it. I'm a member of the American Legion, so that's my mission now. To do that. And I guess the closest I ever got to war was during Desert Storm when we got where Jimmy was in the Gulf. We got mobilized and we were sent to the National Training Center in California, and we were there for I don't know how many weeks we were there for, but it was cold, man. Holy crap, in the desert, and the war ended. So that was the closest. So really didn't do anything. I mean, I was a good soldier, just did my thing, maybe had a little big mouth. But no, I loved it. I'm still friends with a lot of my buddies. I was in some great units, and it was a good time. I recommend it for everyone.
Absolutely.
Billy, did you find that the I guess your interest and your reading the war comics when you were a kid, you think that influenced you to join up?
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, I got to think of that too. And I don't know about what you guys. I mean, how many kids did Sergeant Rock send to Vietnam? If you think about that, with those war comics in the 60s and stuff like that. And even though he was like War No More, but they were awesome. And you wonder, them and John Wayne, Sergeant Rock and John Wayne, I bet they sent a lot of kids to Vietnam.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, I was totally was. But I always loved military history and the films, and I always loved the Army. Of course, I love all the branches of service, but I always love the paratroopers. I always love the whole thing with D-Day and, them jumping into the night. It's just something so amazing. And Band of Brothers, if you guys ever saw that.
Absolutely.
They had that great scene at the end of the first episode and the beginning of the second episode, and how, these guys went, and there was 8,500 of them. Now, you have to think there was roughly in France and mostly near the Normandy coast, there was 500,000 Germans there. And 6 hours before the main landing force hit, the United States dropped 8,500 paratroopers. So it was 8,500 men against 500,000 in the hedgerows of Normandy the night before, just to cause chaos.
Wow!
To disrupt communications and blow bridges and take towns. You know what I mean? Take the causeways, things like that. And it's just incredible. And they were really, for the most part, just riflemen. Some guys had bazookas, some demolition guys, but they had no tanks, they had no trucks, and they just caused havoc.
That's amazing.
And I get the deepest respect for them. There's a thing, if you could ever go back in time, and what would you do? People, would you see Jesus Christ? Would you like to talk to Theodore Roosevelt? Would you like to, where would you like to be? And I got to tell you, and maybe I'm still a romantic over it, and thank God I didn't have to do it. But man, I'd take my chance and jump out of one of them planes on the, a D-Day at 1:15 a.m. in the morning, and with the 82nd Airborne and the 101st Airborne. That's what I would do. So
God bless you.
That's pretty
yeah,
noble.
heroes. They're all my heroes. All those guys.
That's
Love
a cool
them.
story. Awesome.
So Billy, in terms of like your military career and stuff like that, how do you think it's kind of influenced your work, like your creative work, both writing and kind of your art?
Yeah, I think. Oh, definitely in the beginning, especially with the discipline. Jim, right?
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot about discipline, and then I think I got successful and I got a little lazy. I think I got spoiled, but I'm doing that again. I'm getting back into it again. But no, definitely the organizational skills that I learned in it, and just the drive, and realize that, if I never became a paratrooper, I don't know if I would ever be able to do comics, because I went in with the mindset that there's nothing I can't do. And I remember a lot of people laughing, or not laughing, making fun of. I mean, there were doubters, of course, a lot of doubters, but a lot of people were like, wow, this guy's, I think he's really going to do this book. And I think, and that was because I'm like, yeah, why can't I do a full color comic book as a self-published guy? Well, not a lot of people have done that. Well, I said, well, they're not me. I can do it.
That's awesome.
That's a great mindset.
Yeah, and there's nothing to stop you, and we want to do that on our page. I'd love to have we have a YouTube channel called CrowdFunding Comics, Niall Scala and I, and we'd love to have you guys on. We'd do a show for the Long Island comic guys.
Oh, absolutely. We'd love that.
And we'll set that up and organize that. Maybe when a movie comes out or some kind of event, get your take on the film and even the state of the industry and everything. But I'd love to do one. And I was talking to my friend Brian Blevins today about and he said, well, what do I do now? I got my story. I got my script. How do I make a comic book? And, and he was like, we were talking and we both came to the conclusion, like, what a great idea for a show. Make your own damn comic. This is how I made my comic. And I'll get other people on. I'll get, Jimmy Palmiotti, Brian Pulido, all these other guys that have made, Marat Michaels. I'll get these guys that have made their comics that have been on our show and ask them how they make, What's your best advice? How do you make a comic? What should you do to make a comic? Because you can. If I could do it, anyone could do it.
Right. It's a great video. I've watched quite a few of them on the crowdfunding. I highly recommend people watch it because it's actually pretty informative, and I've learned quite a lot. And I'm not in that industry.
Yeah, and we're having fun with it because it looks like now, knock on wood, we'll have this Friday coming up, Joe Sinnott.
Wow.
So, excited about that. Yeah. And he just got Skype, and they're going to be at the Garden State Comic Fest. The East Coast Comic Con. I think they're at East Coast Comic. Yeah, East Coast Comic Con this weekend coming up. Great show. Cliff's show, Braithwaite's show. And Joe's going to be a guest there. And so is Larry Lieber. So my friend Jim Tornas said, I think we get Larry on too. Even if it's in the hotel room, and imagine Larry Lieber and Joe Sinnott and be able to sit down and interview them. I don't know if you guys are going there this weekend, but maybe you should go talk to them.
Jeez. Oh,
think about the stories Larry Lieber must have.
Right?
Yeah, but Jim, you blew it that time when it was 2 years ago, Rhode Island Comic Con, when we gave Stan Lee and Joe Sinnott all their recognition for being World War II veterans. And I'm like, you got to come.
I know.
And you and Leo, where were you and Leo? You and Leo,
we were outside the room. I don't think we made it in.
Yeah, it was that whole situation was very confusing how everything was set up there. So
yes, it was. Yeah. That's for sure.
I regret it. Trust me.
Yeah, I would have loved to be there to have been there from that. We didn't even know what time that was going to take place. They kind of ushered us into the room, and then we kind of got ushered out. They're like, they weren't pushing you out, but they're they didn't want people to linger, even though they were supposed to.
Yeah, it was so disorganized. It really was that show. That show's got, they got some great guys working there, great people working there, but they seem to be lacking but it's a big show. I think
that's the problem. It's kind of growing a little too fast for them to handle it.
Yeah, they've got huge celebrity lists, so I know that they're,
That's the problem. Their focus is there.
it just kind of stinks when it's called, blank blank Comic Con, and they treat the comic book guests like second class citizens.
Yep. Yeah.
And even Jimmy Palmiotti tweeted that out the other day.
I saw that.
It's like conventions, Comic Cons, and he even said it. You're, who put us in a different green room, say, or they don't even have a green room where we can get a cup of coffee or a bottle of water or something at, and then meanwhile you could smell, you know what I mean? They're having a chef or whatever cooking these hot meals for zombie number 3 on the left, that sort of thing. So but all the comic guys are talking about it. The nationwide comic guys, not just the Long Island comic guys talking about it now too. But the worldwide comic guys, and we did a great show. Reed Pop, who puts on the New York Comic Con, they put on the Paris Comic Con. They treated us like it was amazing. They just treated us just as good as the biggest celebrities that were there. And then we did the London Comic Con with Leo. Jim, we really thought you were going to make that one. And they had a big green room, and it was everyone, like all of us. There's maybe 30, 40 of us guests, but all, Frank Miller's there, and I'm hanging out with Frank Miller and all our comic guys. Brian Azzarello was there, and Jimmy and Amanda, John Romita, Chris Claremont. Oh, man, I can't even remember. It was stellar lineup. Frank Thierry was there, and we all got in trouble. That's a funny story. Me, Frank Whiteley, Frank Thierry, John Romita, and Jimmy Palmiotti. And we were all, I got cigars. Like, you guys want to smoke cigars? Like, yeah. So here's all these New York Italian guys and Frank Whiteley with his and we would just, we were in the hotel room. We're at the hotel bar. And then the fans would come. It was really great. It wasn't a lot of fans, but, there's just drinks galore are just flowing. And then we retire outside to the lobby. And it was nice. It was October. It was 2 weeks at the New York show. It was probably like 60 degrees out at night. It was nice. We're smoking cigars. We're laughing. We're all loud. Somebody threw an egg at us. There was a apartment building across the street from the hotel, and then they called the cops on us because these loud Yanks are out there. and then it got crazy and stuff.
That's hysterical.
But again, getting back to that they had this wonderful green room with all this food, and they treated the comic book guests just like they're celebrities. And they should. It should, because it's a Comic Con. Yeah, they call it Celebrity Fest. Don't call it Comic Con. Call it Celebrity Fest. And but it was fantastic. They're a great company. I'm real happy for all the success they have. They've always treated us really well. And if you guys do the New York Comic Con or the Chicago C2E2, and Mike Negan, who runs Artist Alley, for where they put us all the artists, he's just a prince. I mean, he'll bend over backwards for you. Nice. And because he's a comics fan, which is nice that they actually have a big company like that actually has comic fans. You know what I mean? Yeah. Working for. Yeah. It's nice, and because they're using your name to sell tickets, and advertise and all that, and then you can't get a cup of coffee. Something wrong with that,
right?
Billy, what's your favorite show to do?
Oh man, favorite show to do. Wow. I guess I gotta say the San Diego Comic Con. This is like I said, my first year was 1993. 94 was our first big convention. So I remember in 1994, it was me and Debbie, and we had our single booth. And I think I got it kind of late, so we didn't have an end cap or anything like that. And She Number 2 just came out, and I didn't have a book for She Number 3, so we made posters. And then I made a black and white copy of She the Way of the Warrior Number 1, San Diego Comic Con edition. And we made, 2,000 copies of it or so, and it just blew out.
Nice.
And we had a huge line. It was so great because I went back to the same exact place that I was a year before, and I had left so dejected. And then I came back, and then we were on NBC News, like us, like she.
After what's really a short period of time, just a year.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And I just remember, like, we had to call FedEx in to get more posters sent in because we didn't have posters and crazy stuff. And we were so popular that there was hundreds and hundreds of people crowding the independent pavilion area that they moved us to the autograph area where the celebrities were, and they set us up next to William Shatner. And we had a way bigger line than Shatner did. And he's like, "Who are you guys?" I'm like, "Oh my God, Mr. Shatner." I said, I'm a cartoonist. He's like, and he like gave me a thumbs up, like, "All right, good job." So fun. That was fun. But San Diego, because it's just a big event. I don't know if you guys go.
We've never been now.
You really, every comic fan should go there as a pilgrimage, I think. Yeah. In a way, really.
I went there in 1991 when I was stationed in San Diego. I think I was just out of boot camp.
Did you go buy tickets? Were you able to just walk up and buy tickets?
We just walked, and that's when it was a comic book show. Like they were comic books, and it was small. Now it's impossible. Now it's.
Yeah.
I'd still like to try and go one day.
One year.
Yeah.
You really should. Well, we can get you tickets, so I can help.
Well, we'll take you up on that.
Let's talk off air.
I can help you out with it with that.
Billy.
But that show, but this year, thankfully, we are special guests for San Diego for the first time since 1990. First time ever. And they're flying my wife and I out. They're putting us up at the hotel.
Wow.
So it's great. We got panels we'll be doing and stuff like that. And we're going to bring the boys with us. We're going to spend a week there.
That's great.
Spend 2 days recuperating after the show.
Smart.
But it's so great because you see all your friends, and then there's always cool Comic-Con events. There's these big parties. Like DC has a big party every year. Marvel has a big party. But then there's like the cool like there's the Eisner Awards, and if you're nominated, you go. But there's always like a cool little quiet party, of all the comic people. And even if it's every Sunday night, the last night of the show, the Chapmans who run graffiti design have their Dead Dog Party. And it's where we're all there. Sid Kavich is there, and Jeff Smith, and all the, Dan DiDio from DC, and John Cassaday. I mean, everyone's there. And we're all just hanging out. We're sitting down, and it's outside. You can sit outside and smoke cigars, or you can go, in the little lounge area and hang. And it's nice and quiet. They get all food and stuff. And it's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
It's but I look forward to that. But yeah, that's got to be my favorite show. But I got to tell you that the Paris Comic-Con and the Reed and the London Comic-Con of how they treated us was just incredible. And also, I want to say Terrific Con's a great show. Mitch Halleck's show is a wonderful show. Mark Nathan's Baltimore Comic-Con is a great show. Great time. We had that Jerry Con there that year or whatever it was.
We had fun.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
Yeah, we're gonna be at Terrific this year. We're gonna spend some time in there. So
excellent. You guys gonna go to Baltimore too?
We're on probably not. We'll see.
Jim's thinking about Rhode Island.
I'm thinking about Rhode Island just for the day, just for one day.
We're gonna go. We're gonna do the Eternal Con too at the Coliseum. You guys gonna do that?
Yeah, I think we'll stop by.
22nd, 23rd. Maybe we can hang out that night.
Yeah, maybe so.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
And the MegaCon was great when Beth and Christina ran it, and that was a great show because that show, the MegaCon down in Orlando, was always like in February or March, early March, and it was the first con of the year, right. So everybody would go. All the big comic celebrities would go, and then we ended up taking over the hotel bar because they would keep us in one bar. But then again, like that show was so great because I got to go out to dinner with like Jerry Robinson. You know what I mean? Wow. I went for a run. I got up one morning to go for a run, and there's Stan Lee and Max. This is going back 10 years ago, and he's like, and he's like, "Oh, Billy, how are you?" I'm like, "Hey." And he's like, "I walk every morning 45 minutes." And he's like, "What are you doing up so early?" And I'm like, "I'm going for a run." He goes, "Why run when you could walk?" It's like, "Walk with me." I'm like, "All right." So I walk with Stan Lee around the hotel,
That's
big
awesome.
hotel. 45 minutes around the pool and just talking to him and asking him questions. It was unbelievable.
That's really cool.
Great.
Wow.
That's great. So you before you brought up it's the 25th anniversary of She. So you got a new book coming out next year, right? What is your future goals for She? I mean, what do you envision in the next 10 years?
Well, I did a 3-year plan, so I can read my 3 years.
Okay.
I actually have it out here, my business plan. It says 2019 business plan, but it has all my conventions and all the books we're doing. So this year, for our 25th anniversary, we're going to have She Return of the Warrior, Part 1. That's it's a 48-page graphic novel, and it's the story I told you about. Anna is now raising her daughter. That's for this year. That's going to be for the end of June, so the book will probably be in everyone's hands by September. Then come October, we're going to launch another Indiegogo, which will be our 25th anniversary book. So we'll have 25th anniversary omnibus, full color omnibus is what we want to do. About 500 pages of the first, 20 issues of She or so. And then I want to do an artist proof edition of the very first She book, because I have all the original art. And I want to have all the original art in black and white, and then all the original colors, because the book was hand painted, She #1. So I want to make a nice 11 by 17 perfect bound 64-page book of that. And that's for October. Then come next March, we do She Return of the Warrior Part 2, which is the follow-up graphic novel. Then, and knock on wood, I want to do, two things. Next year will be the 25th anniversary of our book Senryaku, which is a really big book from 1995. And we were nominated for an Eisner for it. And it's the story, it's Anna's grandfather teaching her about the 36 stratagems of the Chinese art of war. And I had the best artists in comics, each doing a double-page spread about with She in it, and it's a beautiful book. So I really want to do a 25th anniversary book of that, real hardcover, because those books are gone. They're sold out. And then it's also the 25th anniversary of the She Sideblade book that Mark Silvestri and I did, and it was Battle of the Independents, and we brought all these independent characters in for the first time, dozens of them. And I'd love to do a 25th anniversary edition of that, like a whole new story, write and draw a whole new, a new follow-up. So I have to go to Mark and see if I could license Sideblade. And I remember talking to him. He's like, yeah, that's cool. He goes, but she's dead. So he killed that character off. But that works great for me with the Sideblade, because my character, if anyone knows the story with she's haunted by ghosts. So I can have her a ghost in there. So I can make it really interesting. And then of course we'll follow up in 2021 with 2 more She Kickstarters. I want to do at least 2 new She Kickstarter 48-pagers a year.
Okay.
And then we'll break them down into smaller, into individual issues and go through Diamond, starting next year, having them out in Diamond Comics as well. And if I could do that and put out, 100 pages of She every year, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So when is Disney going to buy the rights for the movie?
We have a film deal now, knock on wood, which is great. We have a meeting coming up in San Diego.
Awesome.
With my producer. Her name is Mimi Gitlin. She just produced Angelina Jolie's movie. She was Ridley Scott and Tony Scott's producer.
Wow.
Their head producer, their line producer and all. And she gets it. So we've gone through several producers. So hopefully, knock on wood, that she'll like what I have to, what I want to do. And my story, what I want for the She film, would be what the Return of the Warrior storyline is. But instead of Anna, the mother, being the star, I'd love for the daughter to be the star and have this teenager whose mother was a part of this secret shadow society of samurai that's existed for 500 years. And her daughter has no idea about it, because she's Americanized and she's living here and she's into metal and playing video games and stuff like that. And now, something happens and, this war is rekindled and they're coming for her.
Wow.
And it's how this mother and her daughter have to learn. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
I think and make the daughter the star. Make the daughter the little girl, make a 16-year-old unknown, and it's her story. And then that sets for and her mother's a real strong character. Her mother's a warrior, and have maybe hopefully spurn a whole bunch of sequels, but really hit with a lot of real Kurosawa aspects to it. There's a film I love. I think it won the Academy Award in 1964 for Best Foreign Film called Kwaidan. It's Kobayashi's the director, and it's a beautiful Japanese a bunch of ghost stories. I recommend anyone to watch it on a rainy day.
Can you repeat that?
It's called Kwaidan, and the director is Kobiyashi.
Huh.
You know what? Let me run and get it. I got my DVD.
And there he goes.
Just play it now. We'll stream it. Is he still there?
No, he's going to go get it. He's out of his chair. He's going to go get it. He's coming back.
I'm sorry.
There he is. He's back.
Got it. There you go. Right.
Hilarious.
Jim, if you want to take a picture of it.
Okay.
It's
I just can't turn my monitor because
but can you take your phone?
Of course I do. I'm ready.
Masaki Kobayashi's Kwaidan.
Oh, there we go.
Billy, can you make sure you let us know in private once you get the green light for these She movies so we can make sure and go around and buy all the first appearances of She?
Absolutely.
I actually have one. I had him sign it
But I
2
want
weeks ago.
I want all.
All of them. Okay.
I'm not adverse to insider trading whatsoever.
So, Billy, I did want to ask you a separate question. I know She's the hot topic right now, but you told me an idea for another book that you had while we had our fun conversation at Rhode Island with the at the cigar bar. Do you remember that book?
I remember this.
Oh, that was a great night.
Yeah.
That was a fun night.
That was the
Veterans Day. Yeah, that was a great night.
Yep. Do you remember the book you were telling us about?
I don't know. Which one was it?
It was involved Romeo and Juliet. I don't want to.
Oh, yeah, I can't talk about that.
All right, that's that's what I had a feeling that might be the chance.
That's in the pipeline for sure.
Okay, cool. I'm excited about that.
That's definitely for 2020 for sure.
Awesome. I'm.
It's too good of an idea.
Yeah. Perfect.
Really
that's why I didn't want to speak about it. Too much about it before.
Yeah, my wife is my staunchest supporter and critic, and she's like, "This is the best idea you ever came up with."
Awesome.
That's awesome.
We were all really excited when we heard about it.
I was very excited. Yeah,
and it's even better now. I mean, it really fleshed out everything, and it's really great. It really is. So I was kind of shocked, and I'm like, "Wow, yeah.
So the anticipation will kill everybody until it's out there.
No, they'll all hear about it.
There you go.
Will.
So other books that you've done, we know that you've done some Sergeant Rocks. You've also done some Harley Quinn. What was the other one? Heroes for Hire. What other what other work have you done?
I remember I did an issue of Jonah Hex, and I think it might have been the first Jonah Hex to sell out.
Really?
And there was a beautiful girl on the cover and stuff like that. And that was issue number 53 I did with Jimmy and Justin Gray.
Oh, I
gotta track that down.
I'm going to track that one down.
Book. That was a lot of fun, that book, drawing that. I love working with Jimmy, and I did the Harley's little black book with him.
Yes.
And, so I love work. Yeah, maybe if it wasn't for Jimmy, I wouldn't be doing any mainstream stuff. Holy cow.
Jimmy and Justin's Jonah Hex series was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm glad you were a part of that.
Nice.
And that's funny is that is, and Jimmy had said it, and I agree with him that Jonah Hex, the movie, usually when a movie comes out, it lifts a comic book, elevates it in sales and everything like that. That movie killed that series. It killed Jonah Hex.
Really?
I think because the response to the movie was so negative.
Was that also Josh Brolin?
Yeah, it was also Josh Brolin.
Wow.
Yeah, he's in everything, right?
He loves comics, huh?
Yeah. So he's Jonah Hex, Cable, not Dooms. Thanos.
And then to be determined next.
He'll be in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel.
Is he good? Is he? Oh,
I don't know. I'm just. He'll throw his voice acting talent somewhere.
Billy, is there a character that you've always wanted to draw but haven't gotten the chance to yet?
Absolutely, the Rocketeer.
Oh, beautiful.
Good one.
I have stories for the Rocketeer that is by far my favorite character. I was fortunate enough to be friends with Dave Stevens, and I just walked. I'm like, that was San Diego, not 93 because I think I might have saw him. I was too nervous to talk to him, but 94, forget it. Now I'm like, I'm Billy F. and Tucci. I got a comic book. I'm gonna come up and I'm like, you're Dave Stevens, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my god, and I just fanboy. Every time I hung out with him, I geeked out over him, and I just love the guy. And but definitely the Rocketeer. But another one too is one of my favorites, and that's Miss Fury. And Dynamite will be putting. See, the thing with Miss Fury is that Dynamite had solicited it, but I think that the response to the book was so great, but the numbers weren't really that good for some reason. they were kind of comparable with their other books, but I'm like, this is an important book. This is too good of a book to just let it kind of, fall by the wayside with this. We should put this out as a prestige format, big graphic novel. And that's what we're doing. So it looks like come August, Miss Fury, the Joy Division will be an Indiegogo through Dynamite.
Oh, nice.
With me. Yeah. And a big book, 100 plus page book. So I'm really excited. It's because it's a great story. It really is. And it's an important story too. The story of the Joy Division. And we pay a lot of respect. To June Tarp Mills, Miss Fury's creator. And for those of you out there who are not familiar with her, Miss Fury is the first female comic book character created by a woman. And she actually preceded Wonder Woman by 6 months. And she ran for 10 years, from 1941 to 51. And if you look at Miss Fury, if you guys Google her, for those of you out there, she's Catwoman is literally a ripoff of Miss Fury. Mm-hmm. And she's got the sexy leotard and with this panther suit, and we're tying in historical characters. We're tying in all the original characters from Miss Fury, and Trina Robbins, who is the foremost authority, I would say, on I guess even female characters or female creators. She gave us her blessing, and she loved it. She loved the story. So maybe we can even ask Trina if she would consider doing the introduction for the book. So
nice.
Yeah, it's fun. So it's going to be busy, and I got something else coming out from DC later on this year. We'll see how it all goes.
So the other big book that I think you've done, A Child Is Born.
Oh yeah,
Christmas,
that's
a
a real
Christmas
big
story.
Yeah.
So what was the thought process? I mean, you came out there basically this religious story. What was the thought process on that? Like,
well, Jim, JJ. Are we JJ?
It's all good.
I always wanted to tell the Christmas story. I'd never seen a comic book with just a Christmas story.
No.
I've seen a lot of Old Testament books, and then I saw Sergio Cariello's beautiful Action Bible, beautiful book. But I mean, Sergio's a madman. He did the whole New Testament, even did the Old Testament too. And but I just wanted to do the Christmas story. I wanted to tell it non-denominational. I wanted to tell it directly from Matthew and Luke. And it's amazing, the story of the birth of Jesus is literally, I think it's maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs in the Bible. But those 2 and 3 paragraphs have the most incredible characters, the most incredible settings. It's got every story beat a writer should look for. I mean, it's got fear, and it's got hope, and it's got adventure, and it's got evil, and it's got
myrrh.
What's myrrh and frankincense and gold? But it's an astonishing story, and I just always wanted to tell it. And that's another thing we're looking at 2021, since we're only going to do 2 she-books, is to do our next one will be Blessed Are They, which is about the Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount, and then the next year we'll do INRI, which is the Easter story.
Okay.
So that's laced in with that one book we won't talk about, the 2 new she-books every year, and throw in A Child Is Born. So
got a full plate.
It's going to be busy. So, and that's the thing, because you know how things work out. Well, or maybe you don't. Once in comics, how it always is, you get really busy with something, then all of a sudden everybody else wants you to do stuff for them. And it's like, like I said, I just wrapped up something for DC, which is a lot of fun. It's coming out Christmas time.
What was that again?
I don't know if I can talk about it.
I'm just messing with you.
Playing it smart, Billy. Don't say anything.
You rascal. Who was that said that?
That was Tess.
That was Tess, of course.
Tess.
The snake in the grass.
I always thought it would be Tessie, but Tessio was always smarter.
Tessie, yeah.
So.
No, we're always excited to see your work and run into you, in the island and on other islands. So far, we've caught you. Is Baltimore an island? Let's call it an island.
Space.
It might be a little island city over there. But so we're going to see each other in in
Terrificon.
Connecticut.
Yeah, we're definitely doing Terrificon.
Yep.
Hopefully, I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't get together at the Eternal Con in New York.
Which weekend is that?
Long Island.
That's June 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll be around.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'll be around for that.
And I got a hotel. He got me a hotel room, because we call that's a fun show. And Frank, I love Frank. And if you listen to me, Frank, sorry, but we call it Favor Con because he's like, he calls favors into all his friends. and I'm like, taking me a hotel room. He's like, I'm all booked up, whatever. I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm like, well, I'm not doing it unless you get me a hotel room. So he got me a hotel room. But, I want to drive home, even though it's only 45 minutes away from my house.
Yeah,
Still,
after a tiring day like that.
You guys are in Nassau, right? Well, Tess, you're in Connecticut or something?
No, I'm also in Nassau.
Oh, okay. So,
That's Niles. Niles is in Connecticut.
Oh yeah, Niall. Yeah, so Niall said he'll come down, and then maybe we could do another con. But I think we have to all get Hawaiian shirts.
Yes. Well,
I have mine still.
We had them. You were the one who didn't wear it.
Oh, where was that I didn't wear it?
Baltimore.
Yeah, was Graham Nolan there? Yeah, because we were supposed to do Graham Nolan con.
I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, I blew it.
Yeah, I think that dinner night was canceled.
I had 45 people buy Hawaiian shirts, and you didn't wear yours.
Like Tommy Bahama shirts, $130 each too.
We all had.
No, we bought on Amazon. They were like $9.
I got a great one. I got a great one from Pearl Harbor with battleships on it.
Oh, that's
the
amazing.
Nevada and the Arizona. So I'll wear that one.
There you
That's
go.
really cool.
Nice.
So how are you guys doing? What show is this of yours?
I think this is going to be 10.
This is 10. This is the Big 10 show. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. The DS.
We've been trying to get you on for quite a while. I know it's life is busy, and you've been busy with this crowdfunding.
Yeah. No, it's great to hear about all the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, CrowdFunding Comics is doing great. Or Zombie Sama, for those of you who supported Zombie Sama, and thank you guys out there.
Yeah.
Zombie Sama, we did our Kickstarter for 28 days, and we raised $32,202, I think. I don't know why I remember that. And then we did a 2-week campaign on Indiegogo, and I got to thank Ethan Van Sciver because he got all his Centurions out there to help me. And we did $33,000 in 2 weeks on Indiegogo. And then since it ended, in the past 3 weeks, we've raised another $2,000. So the total for Zombie Sama, John Broly and I's little zombie book, is over $67,000 now.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's pretty cool. And the book looks beautiful. We just added 2 more pages because I was writing. I'm like, John, we got to add 2 more. This is like the other day. I was finishing up the script. Something about the script was just bothering me. And being an artist myself, you know what I mean? You just hate that thing coming out of left field. Because I was saying, John, can you throw another panel in here? Can we cut and paste another panel here? And then I'm like, we need another 2 pages here. We need another 2 pages. So I'm like, John.
You need to put more of my character in it, right?
You got a great character. Oh, he's great. You can't see. No, Colonel Keto's at the end. He's great. Is it Keto or Keto?
Keto. It's keto. Yep.
Keto. Keto.
That is correct.
Yeah. No, Colonel Keto
So no
great.
carbs, only fats.
Yes.
It's a funny story about with Colonel Keto is that we have the story with Zombie Sama because it has something to do with the sword. And when Zombie Sama 2 comes out, which hopefully will be out in 2020. John's working on a huge book for Dark Horse right now, like a giant epic. So hopefully he can get Zombie Sama 2 done in 2020. If not, that'll be early 2021. But we had a story with the sword, something about the sword, and we had the Colonel Keto pontificating about, well, there's an old lore about a samurai who walked with one sword, and it's kind of cool. But then I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're in a helicopter napalming this field, killing all these zombies, and he's telling this story. No, that doesn't work. So we cut out some of your lines, but you're still there.
Okay, thank you.
But you got like 4 or 5 pages. You're in there a lot.
I'm happy.
And then but so John's doing the last 2 pages, so they should be done hopefully Monday. No pressure, John. And or Tuesday. No, we'll get those pages colored this week. The whole
He might
book
actually be one of the people that you mentioned that actually listens.
Nah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
but
he's a good guy.
He's got and he's the heart and soul of Zombie Sama. He really is. I mean, the next story, he just blew me away. It's called Dorm of the Dead. And when Jim goes to college after the whole thing seemingly ends, and like, this is awesome. This is awesome. So, but again, the book is, it's all scripted. We're putting together all the production pages, all the variant covers, because there's so much work and all that stuff. And we'll get the letters. Jeff Vaughn, our editor, JC Vaughn, has a script now to check the edits. Once the edits are go, we'll send that to Mindy Lopkin, our letterer. She said she can letter it in a few days. I mean, the story of the book now, the original book was 60 pages. Now the original story is 62 pages.
Wow.
And the book's 72 pages, because then there's Company Z, what I hope to be my first film that I ever direct, my full feature film. And that's in the back of the book. That's a bonus, 6 pages of that. And then we have 3 pages of thank yous. And so hopefully get that book to the printer in 2 weeks. Get it out to people.
Very
so we can launch
awesome.
She in June.
Very exciting.
Because I don't know about you guys, I've got some Kickstarters, and I'm not going to mention names, but I've got some Kickstarters I supported, and I think I'm waiting 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
On a 48-page or a 32-page comic book.
I think I know the name that's involved in that one.
There's a couple of them. So, and they're like 3-4 years old. 4 years old, I think one is.
Wow.
Is one of those a revival of something from the 90s? Oh,
No.
Maybe not. Nope, never mind.
No.
Thinking of something different. Don't worry about it.
Text me which one that is. In case it is, you know how when you forget about them.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Because I had my original one that I was just me, Billy Tucci, and then I had the one with Crusade, and. But if you could text me that, I'm very curious to see it, and then go back and see if because I have 2, Kickstarter accounts.
No, it's not you, Billy. I promise.
No,
We'll text you. We'll text you the name on that.
Yeah, text me the name. I'm very curious about that. And someday we should just go crazy and have a show about this. And I think I will with Crowdfunding Comics and talk about where are your books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good topic.
And make a bitch. But because this is a business and it's a service industry, and people take, what's so amazing about the crowdfunding of the books, and that's why Niall and I were so fascinated about doing our own show about it, is let's talk about crowdfunding comics. Let's get all our friends who did it, and let's get those that want to do it and ask questions, but get printers on. You know what I mean? Get all different types of people that are in the industry. Even then, you guys who are, you guys who are fans or you are critics, let's get you guys on too. Mm-hmm. And I really would like to do one. We have a show. We're going to start doing composite shows. One is mistakes. I've made a few, and because we ask all of our guests, what mistake have you made? Mm-hmm. And then what'd you do right? But I think one would be, where are your books? And maybe do it for like next year or something like that.
Absolutely.
For January or so. And say, hey, where's my comics? Because no one. I don't mind waiting a year and a half, to be perfectly honest with you. Especially when someone's doing everything. You know what I mean? If it's a big book, I don't mind that. Mm-hmm. But 4 years, that's just like taking advantage of your supporters and your fans. You know what I mean? That people take money out of their own pocket and are showing you they believe in your creativity and giving it directly to you.
Yeah.
And you got to deliver on that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a diplomatic way about calling those people out at this point.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I get you do learn things, and I get the first one you do. It's tough, like things we're learning. Like we didn't charge for shipping. We should have done that for domestic.
Yeah, you realize that adds up very quickly, right?
There was a guy I supported a few years back. Bought a book from him. Beautiful artwork.
Kickstarter?
Oh yeah. He failed to charge enough for international shipping, and I think totally just like tanked his career. Based on the fact that he couldn't ship the books to where he thought he could for the price that he charged.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. Even I think Doug Tenaple with Bigfoot Bill, and it's funny because he does it, tongue in cheek, and he had 120 European and Asian backers. And his Twitter picture is just him giving him the finger. Thank you to our international buyers. It's funny because, wow, it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I have to send books to Canada or something like that. But we put shipping prices in for international shipping. But domestic we did. And I think we will charge it. But I got to explore that to see if people don't mind that. Do people mind paying for shipping?
So you were doing international orders on these past Kickstarters?
No, yeah. We did do international orders, but we did charge for shipping for international. But domestic we did.
Gotcha.
And I think now that even when the stretch goals, I just did the stretch goals, and we hit one was a magnet and one was a sticker. And just because we have 1,200 backers all total, which is badass. But even the sticker to get this $2,500 stretch goal, you'll get a sticker. The sticker's $700 for the sticker.
Yep.
Oh man, wow! I didn't know it was going to cost us this much money. So, but it's all good, It's all good.
So how big of a team do you have that, like, once you get all this stuff together, does it just distributes everything? Is it just Deb?
Yeah. It's me and Debbie. Yep, me and Debbie. And we'll be packing everything up, getting our kids in. I got my two buddies, if you know Rock and Damo.
Yes, I do.
They're gonna come. Yep,
so you do it yourself?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, but Brian Polito, who is the king of Kickstarter, he actually offered to pack everything for us, to fulfill everything for us and ship it out. But then Brian's like, I got to know the exact date when this book's coming in. I got to know the exact date when your pins are coming in, when all this stuff is coming in, because he's running a big business now, so he has to allocate that time for his workers to do that. And I'm like, I don't know when this book, I don't know when we're going to get to you. So maybe for she. So we're going to meet with him and Fran in San Diego, and because I would love to just ship everything to him, and have them do, because they have this assembly line. He's got his workers, and he's got a great staff. They're like a family, and they're all friends of mine as well. And if I can get them to, and pay him, I'd rather pay him to do it. If he makes it that much easier and gets it out,
Yeah, wow.
Either that, or I got a detached garage, and I might just take half of it and turn it into an office.
There you go.
A fulfillment center.
Which would be kind of cool, have a little table in there and a TV, a little refrigerator, drink some beers, and pack some comics up.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you guys over. I'll buy pizza and beers.
Hey, we got it. We'll bring sandwiches.
You'll bring sandwiches for sure. Yeah.
Never going to live that down.
So, Billy, after all your years of experience with everything that you've learned since you started all this, do you have any advice that you would have given, you wish you would have gotten at the beginning of all this?
What would
you tell your younger self?
Tell Billy Tucci in 1993?
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I would tell? What we did is I expanded pretty fast. I mean, I stuck with, and I tell people this, but we stuck with She for like the first 2 years. That's all we did was She. Then I started to publish a lot of other people's comics. A lot of creator-owned black and white books we did. I didn't take any money, I didn't get any royalties. I didn't get any ownership from it. And it was a real good, feel-good thing to publish those books, but it took away a lot of resources because everybody wanted She, and all those resources that I was allocating to publishing my friends' books, because I was like, well, why the hell are my books? Why am I so lucky? Let me publish other people's books. That I would have done. I would have stuck with She for another 2 years, and also we made a lot of money. And it was great. But what I would do next time is I would sock away so much of that I never have to worry about money ever again. And like I said, knock on wood. We're great. I mean, I married a smart woman. We have our retirement money set up. We have, Jim, right? The kids' college money's put away for the kids' college and everything like that. But I also ended up doing a lot for friends and family. I ended up buying cars for everybody, things like that. And I don't think anyone would have minded. I'm like, listen, if I could put enough money away that I could buy a house clear, then I can help you guys out. So stick with your money, and stick with one character, stick with one property, and until that is self-sufficient and running on its own, and then you can expand it and start helping other people out. A lot of companies done that. Look at CrossGen. I think if CrossGen Comics, when they came out in 2001, had stuck with one book, maybe two books. If they just stuck with 2 books, I think they would have done so much better for the first year. I mean, they went out the gate with a whole bunch of different titles, and they were so eclectic and all. And I think they were, it's tough going up with superhero titles, up against Marvel and DC.
CrossGen was smart though. They really didn't try and do the superhero thing.
Yeah, but some of them were. Well, you wouldn't say that they were superheroes at all. They seem they look like superhero books, though. I mean, they had The Path, which is really cool, and I guess you're right. Yeah, Way of the Rat. But I think, I don't know, maybe I think they just expanded too much because there was other titles like that, like Techno and things like that. Techno Comics did it. Defiant did it. Golly, I'm trying to think of all these other books. Even my friend with Big City Comics, Jeff, and he's doing great, Jeff, with Kaufman with Big City Comics. But I'm like, Jeff, stick with one book. Don't keep expanding. And he would just publish so many other books. And it takes away a lot of time and a lot of resources. And if you got something hot, the retailers and the fans want that.
I'm a little ignorant to this cross-gen. Are they still around?
No, not at all.
No,
Okay.
2 years they were gone.
Okay.
Maybe 3 years.
The founder of CrossGen recently just died.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a heart attack.
It's crazy. Crazy news.
Crazy?
He was a young guy, too. He was like 60-something, maybe?
Yeah, I think it might have been 60 if he was.
Yeah.
Any notable characters come from this?
No, not notable characters, notable creators. Greg Land worked on some stuff. Steve McNiven got a start at CrossGen.
Chuck Dixon, you had Butch Geis.
Chuck Dixon was a legend already. That guy is unbelievable. We did a Batman episode a few episodes back, and Chuck Dixon's like one of the all-time best on Batman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like that's a pretty good segue here. Billy, so who have you been most excited to work with in comics? And then who is someone that you haven't worked with yet that you'd really like to work with?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. Let's see.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, like I said, right out of the gate, and again, I didn't have Dave Stevens do a thing in Senryaku when I had George Perez and Alex Ross and Frank Frazetta did a cover for us, and Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, Adam Hughes. I had all these big guys doing artwork for us for Jay Lee, Boris Vallejo. I had Mark Texera. Jeff Smith, Terry Moore, all these guys, worked on that book with me.
Zach's jaw is on the ground right now.
Oh yeah,
that's an incredible list of names there.
Yeah, they're all buddies, and I got to tell you, I think the reason why I became friends with everybody was because my book was so successful that I didn't need anything from anyone. Do you know what I mean? I just became friends with them, talking about baseball. Talking about the Mets and the Yankees. I'm a Yankee fan. A lot of guys are Mets fans.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We still like you, Billy.
Oh, you guys are Met fans too?
Maybe just me.
Oh, yeah. I got my neighbors across. I got my whole block is all Met fans too. I like the Mets, And see, Met fans hate Yankees. The Yankees.
Well, not all of us.
I like the Mets. My Aunt Marie took my first Yankee game in 1973 in Shea Stadium. So I became, and the Yankees sucked back then. And I mean, if my Aunt Marie took me to a Met game, I would have been a Met fan, But so that's how that started. But so that was a real joy. And George Perez is a gem of a man. And we have George recently retired, and I think he's doing a page in the Marvel 1000 book that's coming out. Yep, but we have a real special George Perez announcement coming in June. So I'm really excited about that. So I work with him. Can't do the sneak peek. No. I will let you guys know before anyone else, so I promise. All right?
All right, we'll hold you to that.
But so I don't know. I've worked with so many great guys, and gals. I love working with Jimmy and Amanda. I love working with them. It's so much fun.
Are all these people in your Rolodex on your phone with their phone numbers?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was looking at it.
I'll take that for a while.
Yeah, they're on my phone, sure. Yeah, they're all here. We can call them. The problem is with comic guys, like my interview, you get them on the phone, you talk for 2 hours, and no one works.
Well, this is our work, so it works out.
Yeah, I also, I got the chance to work with Jim Lee with the Grifter She crossover. Working with Jim was amazing. Travis Charest drew that book. Oh my God, Travis is unbelievable. Let's see what other crossovers. Did Daredevil She crossover. Ralph Macchio, I love Ralph Macchio. Not the Karate Kid, the Marvel.
Also a Big Islanders fan, correct?
That Ralph Macchio is, and yes, and I even have someone gave me a Ralph Macchio bobblehead.
Yeah.
No, he's a Big Islander fan, and I'm sure if I see him in an elevator in a show, I'll ask him some Islander questions. But then again, I might get a new friend, and I don't know. But so and who would I like to work with? Man, that's a tough question. That's a great question. There's so many. It's funny because I always wrote and drew. So but I've drawn for Jimmy. I've drawn for Frank Thierry. I've drawn for Peter David. I drew for Peter David. I'm trying to think. Hey, Matthew. That's my son. Maybe David Finch to write for David Finch.
Oh.
John Romita Jr. to write for John Romita Jr. Oh, Scott Snyder. I would draw anything Scott Snyder asked me to draw. I would love Donnie Cates. I love Donnie Cates. I think Scott Snyder and Donnie Cates are brilliant. I think they're a lot of fun. They're great guys. I would love to draw something for them.
Nice list.
I don't care what it would be. Just be fun. Even if it's 2 pages, it'd be fun.
Scott's a local Long Island guy, too.
Yeah. He's a great guy, Scott. Great guy. His heart and soul is with DC. And I think he's got a creator own thing coming out, though, that coming out soon. But he loves those characters. And that's what's great about you could tell these these writers and artists that are fans, like us.
Yeah.
And then you could tell that passion when you're just talking to them and you're in a bar and you're just, talking about, what are you working on? And then you just see that passion. And then you see a lot of these people that have been hired recently for books in the past year and a half or so. A lot of them who write, a lot of the writers, not the artists, they don't seem to like comics at all. And they are unabashedly like, I never read comics. Nah, yeah. I don't really like comics, but this is my idea for this story, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And I think that translates. And a lot of them are working for Marvel and stuff like that. And those books, you could see the fans' response because they just don't get it, and they're just kind of boring. And they love to hear. I guess they love to see their words. I mean, the word balloons are getting bigger and bigger, aren't they, in comics? And the action's getting less and less, it seems. Yeah. With some of these writers and stuff, But yeah, that was my list. If that was okay.
No, that was great. List. That was a great answer to a great question.
Tess is patting himself on the back.
There you go, Tess. So
Billy.
So what do you guys? So what was your last show about last weekend?
We did an Avengers recap.
All right. Yeah. So what's the consensus if we may get into a little Avengers?
Did you see it?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, you did. You guys did a whole episode on the on your crowdfunding site, right?
Yeah.
On the Avengers.
Yep. When we had fans come on and some pros, and it was fun because we were still reeling from the excitement of it. And and I got to tell you, I liked it better. I liked Endgame better than Infinity Gauntlet.
Really?
I did. I enjoyed it more. And I think why I did because I think the Vision dying throughout the whole damn movie was kind of a pain, like really bothered me. Remember, he got beat up in the beginning, and then he was just in pain and dying. And it was almost like, Frodo with the ring, walking around like a zombie. I don't know, it's still too much, and it kind of like, oh, all right, just die, or I don't know.
I hadn't made that connection before. That's pretty funny, but
so wasn't he dying for a time?
Yeah,
right?
he did a little bit. I think overall the consensus here was we actually liked Infinity War better.
Yeah. Infinity War. Yeah, sorry. No, everyone did. It seems everyone except for me.
We did enjoy this movie though very much.
I think we were about probably 3/4. I think across the board of out of a 10. I think we're between 6.5, 7, 7.5. Some people were 9s.
I really like the movie, Billy.
Okay. Well, as the same with Infinity War, these are not easy movies to make.
No. Especially this one.
Yeah, and what I love though was that they gave. Everyone got their due. You know what I mean? Everyone had their screen time. I loved what they did with Hawkeye and Nebula. I loved how they brought Nebula really into the forefront.
That was a highlight.
That was part of our talking points as well.
And a great character arc for her, and then when she can we have spoilers?
No, you're fine. Nope, you're fine.
Okay, yeah. When she shot herself, it was like that was awesome. And and they're like, well, I guess it's she's still my sister. That's just the asshole sister. But I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it because I was watching it with my sons. and Matthew was sitting next to me. He was 12, he was 13. He just turned 13, and he was so into it.
Nice.
And I mean, man, if there's the greatest screensaver ever, it's got to be when Cap is just standing there alone with all of Thanos' army come charging towards him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Shield
one shot,
broken.
the shield broken, that small of him. You just see his silhouette standing there. And then what does he say? On your left? Oh, right. Oh, my God. I just got chills.
I did too. I was just about to say, it's like I got goosebumps as we were just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the last quarter of that movie is probably the best thing I've ever seen on a movie screen in my life.
Yeah, it's up there. It really is. I mean, some of the greatest scenes, and it was so enjoyable. That said, being an Ant-Man fan, I just always wondered, like, even with Infinity War, couldn't Ant-Man be shrunk down and kind of pop into Thanos' head and just turn into Giant Man while he...
Well, there's
I
a
thought
lot...
you were.
Go ahead.
What?
I thought you were going to bring up the theory about
Crawling up his butt.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, just curl up his butt and just...
Do we know if Thanos has a butt? We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
he's an alien. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
He's
his
got an
anatomy.
ear.
Yeah.
He does have an ear, yeah.
Take a nice little place right up to that, I don't know, what is it? The medulla oblongata? Take a hold of it and then just turn into Giant Man and just blow his head off in piece.
It was too simplified for Marvel and Disney's ideas.
Right. But no, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah,
And,
we said that, anyone who's a comic book fan or, a movie enthusiast should definitely go see it.
yeah. Now, what movies are, if I may, forgive me for sidetracking here. I'm having fun here, and I'm just curious.
Go for it.
Are there any movies in particular you're looking forward to this year?
Tolkien.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tolkien. I listened to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History,
Yes.
and he did a 6-episode series on World War One, Blueprint for
fantastic.
Armageddon. It's fantastic, and I never learned about World War One in that way. So knowing that Tolkien had gone through World War One, had served during World War One, and seeing this movie and seeing the influence on his Lord of the Rings saga, I'm really excited.
Oh, I gotta write that down. Hardcore History. Is it about World War One or is it about him?
It's history. And
Dan Carlin is not a historian. He just reads a lot about history and then kind of discusses it over like 6-hour episodes on a podcast.
Yeah, so you can listen to about 30 hours?
It's I think it's about 30 hours just on World War One. It's like 6 episodes called Blueprint for Armageddon.
he releases only a few a year, though.
Yeah, he does maybe
yeah.
1 or 2 a year.
Billy,
wow.
As a military historian.
Oh, yeah, you'd be so into that.
You'd probably finish it in less than a week. I started listening to it on a Monday, and I think, between listening to it on my travel in from work and home and like listening to it in bed at night, I finished it in like 4 days.
Really?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. I was just enthralled by it. It was just, and I feel like in school they don't really do any justice to World War One. World War II is very much more the exciting one to learn about. But this was just incredible, the stuff you learned about.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't go off and make assumptions. He's just giving you facts, and he tries to take them from all different perspectives, and he uses a lot of different sources as to kind of not tell history from one point of view. And I think it's really well done. Yeah.
And I'm downloading it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab it too. Why
But
not?
I mean, obviously, the next one we're also excited about is Spider-Man's out in July.
oh yeah,
So,
that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's done well. I feel like, and how you were talking about the writers recently, and they're not comic book fans, and they don't care about the story. I feel like that translates into movies as well, and like you can tell with the guy Tom Holland, he just really enjoys being Spider-Man, and I think that translates really well on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's definitely my favorite.
Yeah,
I mean, he really captures Peter Parker, the spirit of Peter Parker, and
He's my favorite. I was having a superheated debate yesterday with my cousin. He's a Tobey Maguire fanatic. Hates Tom Holland. Hates him.
Yeah.
Really?
And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
Because he hasn't read the comics, and like to me, Tom Holland is much more comic book accurate for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think he's been the most accurate.
I think he's the most balanced between the two.
Yes.
I feel like Garfield was a really good Spider-Man,
Yes.
Maguire was a really good Peter Parker, but I think Holland is a good blend between the two.
Agreed. Yeah, because I really loved actually Garfield Spider-Man,
Yep.
but he bled that way too much into Peter Parker, too cool and with it as Parker. But yeah, I think Tom Holland exactly is a good balance. And then there's this movie at the end of the year coming out, right?
Oh,
Jim?
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can't wait to close it all off. It's
Honestly, I wasn't excited, and then I saw this past trailer, and I was like, okay, I want to see this now. Really,
I'm sad that it's all going to come to an end, but then I'm glad because I want to see new stuff.
Yeah, different stuff.
Different
right?
stuff. Different.
Are you a big Star Wars guy, Billy?
Oh yeah, but I gotta tell you, I haven't seen. I saw episode 7, and I just kind of, I don't know. I haven't. I saw 1, 2, and 3. I saw New Hope in the theaters when I was a little kid, but I suffered through 1, 2, and 3. I just couldn't stand them. Then episode 7 came out. We watched that, and I haven't seen any of them a second time. I haven't watched any of the new films a second time. I've never had the inkling to do it, and or just the desire to watch it. And
I feel like it's too much at once. Also,
yeah. I don't know.
Star Wars
And
used to be a very special thing because it didn't happen so often.
Yep. And I just think he dropped the ball on it. I think George Lucas painted himself in a corner when he called The New Hope episode 4. I don't think he had any idea what episodes 1, 2, and 3 would be. I think he just wanted it to be like an old Saturday morning serial by adding that to it. And then he had to make this giant he had to create an entire universe and backstory for it. And that's it's too big for just 3 movies.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. It sounds totally plausible.
Yep. So that's just my, I don't know. That's my opinion. But yeah, so I'll get caught up. Rogue One, I haven't seen that.
Ooh, Rogue One's the best one. Rogue One's the best one that they've ever released.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely watch that, especially if since you're a war comics and war movies fan. That's the one to watch.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Cool.
Agreed on that aspect of it.
Okay. And then I just thought it was cheap with Han Solo dying. I mean, wasn't but I think I heard that
Harrison Ford's wanted that since like episode 5. Right? Yeah.
But that's a lame way to die. And I get the Force is strong in this one and all, but if you have Kylo Ren, he's trained his whole life to be, a Sith Lord, and she just F's him, the first time he comes across her, Ray. I don't know. It just seems, I don't know.
I would not disagree with you there.
So, and we can go on and on, but
what are you excited for?
Oh, well, Godzilla. Really excited.
That's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
That's coming out soon, right?
Is it like next weekend or something?
Probably.
So. Yeah,
Is it really?
Yeah.
I think it might be next. I might be. I don't.
Totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about that movie.
And I think the movie I'm looking Tolkien, obviously, Tolkien, and I'm really looking forward to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ooh, I can't wait for that movie.
I just think he's brilliant. I have my own ideas of what it might be, and what he did with Inglourious Bastards, how he, changed, how he changed, history.
The first scene in that movie is one of my favorite scenes in movies.
Oh yeah. And and even the Hateful Eight, except for the whole man rape scene in the snow.
Yeah,
I have not seen that movie.
Yeah,
it kind of stopped, and for you guys who did you guys saw it, right?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
It kind of just stopped the whole movie.
Yeah,
like it was like I don't know, and it's it's like all right, I get it. You could say he did it. You could, but it's like 9 minutes. It's stupid.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for this next one.
Yeah, and then But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is, I just wonder, because it's got Bruce Lee, it's got Damian Lewis plays Steve McQueen, then you have Leonardo DiCaprio, and then
Brad
Pitt
Pitt
as a stuntman.
Yeah,
and I think McQueen lived next door to the Tates. I think he did. And just or this other guy. And just imagine, or he was at a party next door or something. And just imagine them breaking up the Manson wanting to murder and then just kicking the crap out of them all and go, you know what I mean? And saving Sharon Tate. I don't know. Just an idea. So who knows? But I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hey, Billy, since you mentioned his name, we've heard this a couple times. I don't know if, since you're a little closer to it, word on the street is DiCaprio's a huge comic book guy.
Yeah, he is. And I actually saw, well, okay, because his father was a dealer in comics.
I heard he was involved somehow.
Yeah, and his father would go to Golden Apple, and he would travel all over Southern California selling comics. He'd buy comics, sell them, buy them, and sell them. And I sat in San Diego in 1993. In my dejection, we went, my buddy Mark Sasso and I, who's a great illustrator. He got a lot of work. He's a painter and everything. We went and sat down at some diner in the Gaslamp district, and who comes walking in right behind us and sits at the next booth is Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm like, oh my God, at San Diego Comic Con 1993, no one bothered him. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a kid. That's the retard from Gilbert Grape. God forgive me. I did say that.
Wow.
And then that was that. But yes, he was there at San Diego, and he had a couple of friends with him. No one was bothering him.
Wow.
And, so.
It's just funny.
But I think he is. Yeah, I think he's a big comics fan.
It's fun to hear that story about the people that you don't know about. I mean, there's so many publicized people that you know are like into it, and it's surprising too because you think since he is like a fan, you'd see him do something, but no, he's just kind of quiet about it. I like finding out like kind of like mysterying all these people who are secretly into it.
Yeah. Well, like even like we had Bo Smith on and Tim Rozon from Winona Earp, and the Sci-Fi Channel, and both Melanie, who stars as Winona Earp, and Tim, who's Doc Holliday, they're both huge comic fans, huge. So it was kind of cool to see that, and they actually auditioned, and Melanie, who's auditioning for Winona Earp, she's like, oh, I know this book. Oh yeah, I bought this comic. And she goes, I want to be Winona. And I think that's how she kind of got the role. Like, oh, yeah, no, this is me. I'm Winona Earp.
Wow.
And then, so.
That's just always funny. I remember, I think the second time we went to New York Comic Con, I was like flipping through boxes somewhere and some guy came next to me. I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. I was like, who is this guy? And I look at him again and he looks at me and he's like getting a little nervous. And I was just like, all right. I just kept moving. And then like I looked it up later. He was the partner to like Danny Glover in Predator 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his name's Ruben Blades. But I was like, that's funny. Like just randomly like picking through comic books.
I bumped into Bill Hader at New York Comic Con.
Oh, that's funny.
Second and third time.
Second and third time? Second and third time.
It was the second and third year they were running it. Like I bumped into Bill Hader there.
Well, we've had at San Diego, Richard Dreyfuss came up to our table. Oh my God! One time I was drawing. It was about 8:30 in the morning, and I had a commission to do. And I'm sitting there drawing, and all of a sudden I just hear this voice saying, "Your artwork is amazing!" And I look up, it's Megan Fox.
Oh wow, that's funny.
And she with a bodyguard, and she is beautiful.
Oh, she's a huge fan too. I heard I think she tries to produce comics, doesn't she? Wasn't she drawing?
Oh, I don't know.
I heard something.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know. But she was there early to walk around so she could enjoy and see all the booths and everything. So she had a security guard or two of them. And my wife and I are like, oh my God. Debbie's like, you're beautiful. You're so sweet.
So a question. So I want to go back to you drawing commissions. So you draw a lot of commissions.
Yeah.
What do you draw the most of?
Like, what do people ask
good
for
question,
the most?
Jim.
Who asked? Yeah.
Wow. She obviously I do a lot of she's. I just did a Madman today. Madman. I owe like 20 commissions. I do. But I keep in touch. Well, one of them is one guy wants like 8 of them. Which are like on the books. My friend Anthony, I do little pencils on his, and then he gets them inked and colored, and he sells them for a lot of money. But yeah, mostly. I used to get a lot of Black Cats, but I guess she's coming back out with a book.
Yep.
So I'm sure people ask me again, but
I think we all got Black Cats from you.
Yes.
Oh, did I do Black Cats for you guys?
Well, Tess got one. I've got one. I've got many of yours. I've got so many of yours, different ones.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to do commissions anymore. I think I'll do them at like people who book them at home, and I'll bring them to a con because I don't get to enjoy the show. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go to, if I go to dinner or if we have the,
it must be stressful having to worry about that, right?
Yeah, then it's really stressful. And then a lot of people come up to you and like, like in Baltimore, I want, can you do this? Can you do this for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I said, but you got to give me till next May, I gotta be honest. And they're like, okay, no problem. As long as, and then you stay in touch with them. But I figure if I can do bigger commissions and do them at home and bring them to a show.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to scribble to do one at a show, right?
How much can you get done? Like, you can't really get, because you're talking to people coming by. And I mean, I've seen you. I've sat in your booth and, the amount of people that just want to talk to you and you can't get anything done.
Yeah. And then I get confused. Like one guy wanted a bulldozer. Great guy. So he wanted bulldozers from Sergeant Rock, and he came on Sunday, and this was at Baltimore, and he kept emailing me, do you have my bulldozer? Do you have my bulldozer? So finally I did it about, I don't know, maybe in February I did it for him, and I sent it to him, and then I'm going through my book, and I did a full figure bulldozer, with the machine gun and everything. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this must be. And it was only a $60 headshot, and I gave like a $400 drawing. He was a really nice guy and everything like that. But I'm like, did you get the commission? He's like, oh yeah, I got it, great. Thanks.
Jeez.
So
that's funny.
And I even I even for futures though, because I probably will keep on doing them. I just made these up, so I have my little commission list forms, so I know how to do. I had these cool forms. Oh, you can't see.
What is he showing us, Jim?
Well, I can see, but
you should tell the people listening what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's a commission list form of which the name, what's the phone number, how much they paid, all that, so I can keep in and even if I just do $60 headshots or something like that on 11x14, maybe that's what I could do.
I'll take one of those $60 full body.
Good
you
stuff.
got it. You got to bring me a sandwich, though.
I'll bring you 2 sandwiches.
They were good. Very cool.
So that's it, yeah.
So Billy, are you reading, watching anything since we gave you the homework last time we spoke?
Well, see, I don't remember. What was I supposed to read?
Batman: The Long Halloween.
Ooh.
You gave me Batman: Long Halloween?
No, we didn't give it to you. We told you to read it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get it. No.
Now I'm going to go buy it for you.
So
have you read anything outside of your own stuff?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I read stuff all the time. I mean, I have what was I reading? I'm thinking of something. I read a lot of – I keep buying those showcases from the 60s, the silver.
Oh, nice.
I just love them. And I mean, what Kirby and Stan would tell in one issue, it takes him 9 months now to tell in a book, But what was I reading? I was reading, sort of putting them away. I reread Strangers in Paradise, Terry Moore's, and Saga. I think Saga's great.
Saga's very good.
That, I just love that. I'm trying to look over here because I started putting them away.
Oh, very cool.
Do you buy anything weekly, or do you just pick up like the trade paperbacks?
No, I don't. No, I pick them up. I pick up the trades at the shows. Yeah. I just don't have time.
Yeah, of course.
And it's also like when you're writing your own stuff. If you're writing a new story, you can't be influenced by other people's work.
That's true.
Or distracted, even if you don't rip them off. But you could just get distracted, like, oh my God, this is a great Batman story. Oh, I got an idea for Batman. Then you come up with a pitch or something for Batman, and you spend 2-3 weeks on it. So I got to stay focused. I want to stay focused with She, and Zombie Sama's done, so that's great. Go on to She, and then that other secret project we're not supposed to talk about.
Very nice.
But it's cool. It's a good so.
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you, boys.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you. What are we reading? Is that what you said? I didn't hear what you said.
No. We already.
I think we're done.
But you got Batman: A Long Halloween. I'm going to put this on my paper real quick. What else should I? What else?
Mr. Divino.
No.
There's a big list. I mean, Hush, Batman Hush.
No. So
Old Batman. There's new Batman.
I had a professor in college who, when I was graduating, told me you have to grow beyond being a fan to become a practitioner. And what you said just now about not really reading stuff weekly and picking stuff up at shows, really resonated with with what they said. I'm not going to recommend anything. Keep doing your own thing, Billy.
Well, thank you. The news stories. I'm really proud of the news story. I'm really happy about it.
We can't wait to see
excited. And I think we're gonna, we'll see. She's a 3-time Eisner loser, so maybe we could lose another award next year.
Hey, well,
guys, yeah.
Well, we're thinking about doing a book club in the summer, so maybe she will be one of our book club books.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, great! Thank you.
Oh, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, we're gonna do something where we each pick a book. We pick a book and everybody reads, and then we have like a little discussion about it.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good book to do.
Yeah.
That's the plan, is for that to be video and interactive. So
Yes.
Well, I'd like to, not the she book, but I'd like to partake in that if I may be like a guest, on your show, and I could be like one of your guests.
Absolutely.
Well, not a regular, but and Tucci's coming on.
We want to do the Long Halloween as one of them. So.
Absolutely.
Did you do the Long Halloween?
No, that's on the list though. So you could join us for that.
It's actually one of our future projects, a book club.
Oh, I love that
Which
idea.
we haven't really officially announced, but I guess that did it.
Yeah. Yeah, more to come about that.
Excellent. Well, thank you, fellas.
Thank you so much for being on with us, Billy.
Hey, Billy. So again, thank you very much for being here with us. We do appreciate it. And I know you're a busy guy to get a hold of, and you got a lot of work going on. So hopefully have you on the next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope to see you guys all at Eternal Con, maybe Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely.
Get some dinner or something.
and
smoke.
Yeah, cigars.
What did he say?
And
cigars.
I want to make sure that you finish the smoke what. But yeah, we just we want to wish everyone on your side happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And happy. By the time I think we're gonna be ready to release this, happy Memorial Day as well. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Salute.
Thank you.
Yeah, and there's a very interesting story about Mother's Day. If you ever heard that, it was a nun working in a prison. And one of the inmates came up to her and said, "Could you get me a card for my mother? I want to get my mother a Mother's Day card." So he got her a card. He mailed it out. All of a sudden, she just got bombarded by all these inmates wanting Mother's Day cards so they can send their mothers a Mother's Day card. And she ended up getting a whole bunch, out of 350 of them, I think it was something like that. She did it. And she bought the cards. Everyone signed them, sent them all out. Come Father's Day, she's like, well, I got to do the same thing. She ordered about 300 cards, Father's Day cards. Not one inmate asked for one. And that shows you, though, what the lack of fathers of how important a father is for Father's Day,
right?
And how important mothers are too, and how these mothers, what they do, these single mothers, and I think the biggest problem in this country is that men don't act like men anymore, and I think part of the lack of that responsibility as a man, as a father, is a big part of it. But that'll be for the Father's Day edition. With
well said, though.
Yeah. All right, sir.
Sorry to bring us down on a down.
No.
All right. Well, this has been Billy Tucci. Thanks for listening to the Long Island Comic Guys, hosted by
Don't Feed the Geeks.
Don't Feed the Geeks, hosted by the Long Island Comic Guys.
Billy, and just quickly before we sign off, do you want to just say the next few shows that you're going to be at?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I will be at the Phoenix. I think it's called Phoenix Fan Fest, which was the Phoenix Comic Con Memorial Day weekend. Then June's a big month for me, and then the first weekend in June, I will be at Comic Con Revolution in Chicago, which is another great show. Then I'll be at 2 weeks after that, I'll be at Heroes Con, which is the 14th and 15th, I believe, of June. The following weekend is the Eternal Con, which I'll be there. And then the weekend after that is, I believe, the Garden State Comic Fest in New Jersey, in Morristown. Awesome. So, and then and then San Diego, and then I don't do anything until I don't know, maybe New York or something like that. Thank goodness. So.
Nice.
Sounds good.
And then, so where can people find you? So you're on Instagram, Facebook, all that. Where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Just Billy Tucci. You'll see my stupid face smiling. And but also we also have Crusade Comics now. I just started that on Twitter, so we have a Crusade Comics. If you guys wouldn't mind following that. And then we have our YouTube channel. One is mine, Billy Tucci, and then the other, of course, which I'm really excited about, which we will have you guys on. We'll organize that is CrowdFunding Comics with my partner Niall Scala.
Nice.
Great. We'll link to all that stuff for everybody to go so they can go visit.
Cool.
So
awesome. Well, thank you again, Billy, for joining us tonight. All right, so let's talk about the dragon in the room, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So,
or really, let's not. I mean,
You're seeing the dragon
do we
too.
really want to go through
the
this?
dragon, yeah. I guess we got to talk about it. It's only the most popular show ever made.
Okay, after 8 years.
Yeah. So Game of Thrones is over. Everybody. You're right.
We are done.
Yeah, it's over. Over and done with.
Okay, stop with the clapping.
All right, who wants to go first?
Let somebody else go first this time. I went last time. Tess has got he's got his mouth full.
I'm eating pizza.
He's eating pizza because he doesn't
Zach.
want to.
Zach, you go first.
Oh, you want the most optimistic guy to go
Sure,
first?
Absolutely.
Because you did the 9-0 on the
Avengers.
Season finale, Game of Thrones, 10-0 Gem Mint.
Get out.
You're out of here. You're not allowed back here.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not giving you my CGC grade on this. Ultimately, was I satisfied? No, but I don't know any solution in 6 episodes for season 8 that was going to give me the satisfaction that I was looking for.
Yeah. I agree.
It was too short. 6 episodes. They should have put it out longer.
It was too rushed. But I also understand that you have had these actors working for 8 years now, 9 years.
What's another 2 episodes though? Really?
It's not going to be enough even in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know if 2 episodes could be enough.
George R. R. Martin's consistently said that he could see this being like 11 or 12 seasons. He's like, there's enough material that needs to be fleshed out in the
But why
books for
wasn't
stuff
it?
to make
If it's
sense.
such a popular show, why wasn't it?
HBO wanted it to go on long.
But who didn't?
The D&D. Dave Benioff and DB Weiss, right?
I guess the showrunners, not show creators, because I guess they're the show.
They want that Disney money.
No, for real. They were over and done with it. They wanted to move on and go do their Star Wars movies. HBO wanted them to continue. They didn't want to.
No.
You want to know how big of a deal this probably was that they were blowing this off at the end? You know who Aaron Rodgers is? Probably not. Some people listen to.
He plays baseball, right?
Yeah. He's a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He was in the second to last episode as like one of the grunt guys. He did this interview where he was very unhappy about what happened, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't know. It was like it seemed like they were had written it off and they're ready to go do Star Wars." Ooh. So he knows that they're gonna go do Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
And that was the reason why. I mean, I know we're getting off of weight, our group thoughts on this, but
that's all right. Just keep going.
What was I going to say? Like it was rushed. Like they absolutely rushed this compared to seasons 1 through 7, where it flowed from first episode to the last episode.
While I was watching the last episode, there were like 9 or 10 times where I was like, "This is stupid. Why is this happening?"
Yeah.
But a couple days after I was thinking about it, I realized I don't have a problem with what happened. I have a problem with how it happened, how it was fleshed out, how quickly it was fleshed out. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like we got a lot of characters acting completely out of character because we didn't see them get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like the most honest scene, and I'm going to steal this from someone else, is kind of the goodbye that you got from Tyrion and Jaime. Mm-hmm. It was like in the tent, he's like, I wouldn't have survived my childhood or my entire life without you. Our relationship was the only thing I had, the only family I had. And outside of that, I feel like there was no real connection for anyone else. I mean, Varys, I feel like Varys was one of the strongest characters.
I know.
This
and
episode.
But Peter Dinklage was MVP.
I mean, he absolutely was.
That scene where at the end where he goes into the caverns or whatever.
Listen,
was awesome.
Like it being Bran being the king is the lamest thing ever. Yeah. I can see George R. R. Martin saying like, "Yeah, this was my plan the whole time," and that's just his style.
So the lamest ending has the lamest character.
Yeah, literally. It's like stupid goofballs. We have the same dad jokes.
What were you gonna say, Jim?
TC.
I'm still trying to process it again because it's just it infuriates me to the point where Like
so much wasted time.
it's so much wasted time. Especially
what was the whole point of the whole Jon Snow Targaryen thing?
Especially when you invested 8 years in a TV show, a weekly TV show, and then wait a year and a half for season 8. I mean, they made us wait for this crap.
Literally almost 2 years.
And it was crap.
Sorry, go ahead. Jon Snow Targaryen.
Jon's Targaryen lineage is the threat to Dany. So in a way, it does have a payoff. Does it have the payoff that we were looking for, or does it have the payoff that is deserving of that story? I don't think so. But I do think that ultimately pays off. The thing that I'm more frustrated about, Arya didn't steal any faces in the last 2 seasons.
None.
I know.
Literally. I expected that to happen.
Bran didn't warg into anything or do anything, or even the time warging. What was the point of Hodor and time warging and then never using that ever again?
He didn't even use it to see where the freaking dragon was. Like,
No, he said he was going to check later.
he was going to check, but do that then.
I was like, what?
Like, that's ridiculous.
you
to leave us hanging on.
You have
on
no
that.
idea where that dragon is. It seems like even though they ended it, they're like, maybe we'll leave it open-ended.
It's just
Maybe someone else will go run with this.
West of Westeros.
that scene like last season where he's like, I don't really want it anymore, and
all he
then
kept
this time he's
saying
like,
was-
I don't want to be king.
He
That's
said,
a lot.
how many times did he say that?
I don't want.
And then all of a sudden, there you are. You're king.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind that we wasted all this time.
It's not a waste.
It's a waste.
It's not a waste.
I mean, up until this last season came out, I told people the way I would describe this show to people was it's the best television show ever made, and this puts a mar on that comment. Like I don't think I'll tell people that. That's not how I would describe the show anymore because of 6 episodes.
We can talk about the most satisfying part of the episode.
Yeah.
When
Ghost finally got his pats.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? I'm skeptical because apparently they pulled Kit Harington, is that his name? Into the HBO offices. He had to leave something that he had to do. I guarantee you they refilmed that.
They had to because it pissed people off, I think.
I guarantee.
which part?
I guarantee you that when he pets Ghost at the end, I guarantee you that wasn't.
He kind of
originally
just
in the-
sent him
gotcha.
off like you're garbage,
Gotcha.
and then all of a sudden, now there's a send off, and it pissed a lot of people off.
So he got sent back to the Night's Watch, which ridiculous. But so there's no Night's Watch anymore.
Why couldn't he have just been like
Why would there be a Night's Watch?
Why
'Cause
couldn't
there's-
the Unsullied are going to go
need
over
to
to their island? They're never going to see anybody again.
They look over. It's like, all right, they left.
Yeah.
You can say it's cool.
Right. So the Unsullied. So first of all, you've got all these. They're all men. They've got no junk anymore. I mean, that's been cut off.
It's all in the
so
trunk.
They can't.
When Tyrion's
reproduce.
like, you could go and repopulate or
And
whatever.
I read a little backstory, so I don't know if I've never read any of these books. I don't know if you guys read any of these books.
I actually
Planning
want
on
to.
doing it.
Yeah.
So from what I understand is the island that they're going to, apparently people that go to this island, you die within the first day because there's this butterfly fever is what they call it, that there's these butterflies that have this fever. The people that are there are immune to it because they're from there. But anybody that goes to this island dies within 24 hours. So these guys are dead anyway when they reach there. So they didn't really make that known in the show, but they did bring that out.
I think the point was to get the Starks to essentially control the world.
Oh man,
you have
Rob would have just held out. Huh?
I know. Bran's got the Six Kingdoms. Sansa's got the North.
And then the other guy who couldn't zig and zag.
Sansa. Yeah.
And Arya
Run
goes
serpentine.
to
Arya's discovering America, like
Yeah,
Christopher Columbus,
basically.
and
She's a pirate.
yeah,
She's a pirate.
And Jon Snow's now going to be the North.
Yeah.
King Beyond the Wall.
Yeah, he's going to be Santa Claus.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's gonna be Mance Raider,
Yeah.
It's
just like Santa Claus's cousin.
Wow.
But yeah,
What is the point? Honestly, what is the point of the wall? They're no longer at war with
there
the
is no
Wildlings,
point to
right?
it.
So the
that's
original,
what he literally said. There's still a Night's Watch.
there's
They need a place to send the undesirables.
so
But there's no point to it because there's
There's
no.
no
that was-
point to it.
The
So
wall
it's
was
even worse
originally to
than-
keep the wildlings out.
Yeah.
That was the reason for the wall.
The
right? I
wall
can't
was
go
to
all the-
protect against whatever was from the north of the north of the north,
Which
north
ended
of
up
the wall.
being the White Walkers.
But I think it was,
But it was
intention was originally wildlings.
Yeah, but now that they're friendly, it's pointless.
Yeah. And did the wall just mysteriously come back too?
the
Well,
wall
no,
came
that-
down over near. Is it East?
It was the west. Yeah. It was the
Okay,
west.
because
So that part of the wall was still there.
I thought that was gone.
No, there was a different section. It was a different
okay.
part of the wall that came down.
But you can tell the sloppiness
Yeah.
of the season with the amount of mistakes that they've made. Like you got this coffee cup, now you've got water bottles, you've got Lannister's hands, his real hand in a scene where it's supposed to have been the metal one. So
They're Russian.
they rushed it. There's a lot of sloppiness. You didn't see
No, I
that
don't think
in
they're
any of the,
Russian.
They're not Russian.
No, they're not Russian.
They were rushing it.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing Toy Story.
Yeah.
I think I said Russian.
I will say though,
And you didn't have that sloppiness with seasons 1 through 7.
Yeah. I will say the second to last episode, the big fire thing, that was like, it was a little too much for me, but still the way it was filmed and the way that they, like, the visuals and everything, I thought it was awesome.
It was beautiful.
I'll give them that.
You know what I hated about it? There was just way too much of Arya and John standing there and staring around.
John's staring there for like 20 minutes, and then he's like, retreat. 20 minutes later.
It's just
after 100,000 people already died.
And Arya just walking around aimlessly.
They're really drilling this point home. Like, yeah, we get it. She's turned. It's like, we get it. You don't have to. But they kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like, one time from each character is fine. How many different scenes did you go to John and then you go to Arya and they're just doing the same thing where they're staring around and then they help someone and then that person dies and then they help someone else and then that person dies. It's like, we get it. Stop staring around. Just get out.
So there were a few observations I read that were interesting. They made Arya the person on the ground character that you viewed everything, the carnage through her eyes, and it should have been Davos. You were worried for Arya. They wanted someone you could actually be worried for, and she was the big hero from the preceding episode or 2 episodes prior. But Davos was from Fleet Bottom. Davos was basically back where he came from, where he started from, would have been seeing everything destroyed around him. And that's a real character that I think people really liked and really would have been worried that something was going to happen to.
I don't think it was enough. I think they didn't have enough time to really build that up. They needed it to be someone big enough that people would really be concerned.
You're not concerned about Davos?
The
Onion Knight?
I am, but I don't think a lot of the people are as concerned as Arya.
I think that more people are concerned about Davos than you give credit for.
I like Davos.
Everyone likes Davos.
I was just happy that Tormund wasn't there. Tormund is the only one that I wanted to make sure survived this whole thing. If he would have sat on the throne, best ending could have. That would have been my ideal ending. It's like, you know what? I think this guy should.
Speaking of the throne, what'd you think of the dragon melting it? Apparently, the dragon knows what allegory and metaphor is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's hokey. That was a hokey incident.
As that was happening, I was cringing the whole time.
Well, he knew that the thing that was in her was a pointy thing, and he saw the chairs were all pointy things. He goes, I have to destroy all pointy things.
I don't know, man.
So the best description I read for this season came online somewhere. I think it was a Twitter thread. I do not take credit for this, but it's the difference between plotting and pantsing. And plotting is like somebody who's carefully plotting out where every story is supposed to go, every story beat's going to be, and you're going from point A to point B to point C to point D. And George R. R. Martin is more of a pantser, as in writing by the seat of his pants. So, like, characters make decisions that sometimes alter the plot and take you away from where you think you're supposed to go or you're going to go. And the ultimately the disappointing thing about this season, and I think kind of last season too, is that you went from a series that was basically based on pantsing writing, or like flying by the seat of your pants writing, to like, we got to get this done. Certain story beats have to be hit, and if it doesn't make sense, well, we'll make it work.
Also, a lack of source material.
I think that's likely it as well, as once again, because you're switching from that style that George R. R. Martin writes to
make it up now.
Yeah, let's finish this up. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, because there's like I feel like at least there's a distinct difference in between like those two factions of the show, like before the books ended and after the books ended.
Well, definitely.
I could like you could tell.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it D.B. Weiss or David Benioff? I don't even know.
Benioff.
Thank you.
Benioff.
They're one of the writing credits is X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, I love that one.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
that's the one with the best of Deadpool, right?
That was my favorite Deadpool. I don't know why they didn't bring that version back.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Deadpool was in that one?
Yeah.
He's quiet. He doesn't talk. It's great.
Whatever.
We're getting off track.
Off topic.
Yeah.
I will say with the last 2 episodes, the Hound's death was probably the best.
That was great.
That was the
Death in a
only
while.
kind of like, I had expected it to be more than him the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always expected it to be him and someone else were going to take on the Mountain, but him and the Mountain, just those two were fine. I don't know.
Did anyone else laugh out loud when Kyburn got his skull crushed?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was an awesome scene.
Like,
Laughed out loud.
It's so
audibly.
It's so funny how like effortlessly he threw him and how his head popped up, and then meanwhile he was using the same brunt force to do that to his brother, and just like pretty sure skulls have the same amount of pressure and elasticity needing. I mean, he banged his head against the wall like 16 times, and like I don't know if this is like my issue.
Wanted to make him suffer.
Yeah, I guess. But I was just like,
It was a pretty cool death scene.
that was good.
Yeah.
A good way for both of them to go out. I didn't miss out on the part where he finally died as part of fire. You know, little final burn.
what I thought was, I thought, because you know how like I don't know if it's like fact, but they say like Targaryens can't get burned by fire. So what I thought was going to happen was that the dragon was going to burn Jon, and he was just going to be okay, and the dragon was going to be like,
They want to subvert your expectations.
yeah.
Well, I think the dragon probably knew that because the dragon
knew that he wrote them.
knows he's a Targaryen.
Yeah.
However, dragons know that, but
Dragons have teeth. He could have just.
yeah, absolutely. I was
Also, like what? Why did he? Jon obviously told everybody that he killed her, right? But he could have been just like, oh, I don't know. She flew away with the dragon. I don't know where she went.
well, it was that blood that they made sure they pointed out on the floor.
That was another thing that just didn't make sense to me. Like,
I mean,
the
if you
dragon
took
took him.
more ash on it, maybe he could have got it away with it. I was like, I don't know. I came up here. She must have flew away.
Nobody knows he was up there. Oh, I don't know.
She had no guards with her.
Well, the dragon,
And then all of a sudden,
the
Tyrion.
dragon was there. Made a big point to like pop out of the ash.
I feel like any guards downstairs would have run up if they heard that. Would have ran up.
And then all of a sudden, at the end, you got Tyrion, who now is deciding the king. Right? Like,
Well, he's telling them how to decide it.
but he's a prisoner? Like, it just.
Kramer was like, "You do not speak," and he's like, "Yes, I do." And
He's like, all right, well, I'm just going to talk about how we're going to do this anyway, though.
He's got bigger balls than Grey Worm.
I guess he did. Yeah, well, obviously.
and they all don't like democracy. It seems.
Yeah, they laughed at it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I did like that part of it. It's like it seems like a good way to choose.
Yeah.
Did
you guys notice? What's his name?
The water bottle sitting up? No, I didn't.
No, the kid.
Robin Arryn.
Robin Arryn. Did you notice him there?
I did. Did I notice him there? Yeah, I did.
Who?
Yeah.
What?
Remember the kid who was
He
Catelyn's
was
niece?
Lady
Nephew,
Arryn. So John Arryn was Hand of the King, and he dies, and that kicks off Ned having to become the Hand of the King in season 1. So his son, John Arryn's son, is Robin Arryn, and we're introduced to him at 10 years old, suckling on his mother's.
That's right.
Yeah, the Moon
You
Door.
saw him a little bit more than that, too, because then...
That was him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together.
Edmure Tully was also there.
Yeah.
He was the one from the Red Wedding. He's the one that
Yes.
got married that night.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
He's the one who stands up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sansa says, please sit down.
I didn't put that kid together. I was wondering who that kid was.
He Neville Longbottomed, which is a Harry Potter reference for anyone else.
I get it.
He got older and better looking.
Jim wouldn't get it. There's 5 houses.
There's only 5.
It's all right. I knew that. I had to give you one that might trip you up.
I won.
Yeah, I know you did. You did a great job.
Well, yeah. Anyway, that was a different episode.
Doesn't matter. Whatever.
Oh, man.
We have to stay current somehow.
Coming soon.
We don't want to give too much of a peek behind the curtain.
What'd you think about the North? Sansa deciding to just secede and be queen.
I mean, I feel like that's another point they just drilled home so much, where it's just like, the North isn't going to bend the knee anymore. I was like, whatever, who cares? I was like why?
There's nothing.
It's her brother.
So let's put it this way. I was like, so if you need help, should they not help you then? Like, are you going to ask them for help? I was like, that's all one thing. I was like, you're all basically making your own decisions anyway. I was like, what is the king really doing overall through all the companies? Like, those people who had their houses still kind of take care of that area anyway, right? They're like the governors or whatever of that area. It's like, you only go through the king if you need something or if the king needs something. I was like, you don't think she's still going to send help to her brother if her brother's like, hey, can you help me out here? He's like, yeah, all right, whatever. She's not going to send Northmen south? Come on.
But at the end of the day, there's really no more enemies. So.
I mean, that's kind of I think that was kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Unrealistic.
Bran was just awful. I would have been happier if it was Sansa. I'll be honest with you. Bran's just like the thing that bothers me is like, oh, I can't be the Lord of Winterfell. I'm a three-eyed raven. It's like, why don't you say, oh, I can't do that. I'm gonna be king. Say I can't. I'm a three-eyed raven. It's like enough of the three-eyed raven thing.
I would have really liked it if Bran was kind of evil.
I would have too. Like if it would have turned out that he was if he would have just died when they took out the.
Apparently, he knew everything that was going to happen.
Yeah,
anyway.
so he can.
Why do you think I came all this way?
That's another thing that that Aaron Rodgers was upset about. He's like, so wait, so he just basically made all this happen? He goes, oh yeah, by the way, you're a Targaryen. Go tell your aunt.
See how that turns out for you.
So listen to you guys talk about this final season here.
Did you watch it?
For the very small percentage of the population that never actually gone on the Game
spoiler
of Thrones
warning.
So you've never seen it?
Spoiler warning.
I've seen episode 1 of season 1.
Okay, I will say this: it is still a show worth watching.
Absolutely.
That was my question.
100%.
It's like, should someone invest in the 7 seasons?
Yeah.
Yes,
And then just
8 seasons because the
forget-
first 6 are amazing.
Invest in.
And should
Ned
you just
Stark.
forget these last 6
You're going to get to a
episodes
point.
altogether?
If you watch all that, you're going to want to finish it.
You're going to want to finish it.
First 6 seasons are excellent. I think you just have to temper your expectations for the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now that you know, like you might expect you have better expectations.
It's amazing how it's been all over the radio.
Yeah.
Like
How disappointed
since
people are.
Monday morning, how everybody's in in an uproar on the final episode. I'm
Yeah.
like, really? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just,
No,
like I said, I
would
only
still
seen the
recommend
first
it.
episode, so I didn't catch on to the fever. So I was like, wow, it's like, this is kind of weird. And I was like, okay, maybe I will actually invest in.
It is absolutely
watching it.
worth watching. Definitely.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
were
think-
going to do a whole episode on
I
this,
don't
but we
think
didn't want to.
I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to do any more on this.
No.
I think it's a dead issue.
We all texted each other after it ended, and we're like, we're not talking about
It was
this.
a
Literally
great
a
show.
dead
It
issue
just had
now.
a weak ending. I mean, it happens to a lot of shows. I mean, Lost. I mean,
I don't know if you guys watched Dexter.
Dexter. I mean, I like Dexter's better because I hated Deb and I would like to see her die. So,
Whoa, spoilers, dude. I never saw that.
I haven't seen Dexter either.
sorry.
I seen 1 or 2 episodes.
Statute of Limitations is passed on that show.
There you go. So I think we should just end it now.
End it.
It's done.
One quick thing. Are we still going to watch the prequels?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's different showrunners.
It's a different. Yeah. It's a different show. And yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they purposely threw in The Watchmen so that I wouldn't cancel
The Watchmen
HBO
trailer?
right now.
They,
I was
dude,
like,
they had a lot of good shows that
was
they
like,
lined up
"You
for that. They were
son of
trying
a
really
gun."
hard. Yeah.
It's like, I'm a comic book fan.
I just, at the end of the day, I'd love them to close out. Just I want to know where Arya's going. I want to know more on her.
Arya's
where's it going?
spinoff.
Listen, in 3 years, when these people don't have any careers, you're going to see the show continue.
We're gonna see it.
Are you going to read the books, Tess?
I'd like to, but I also don't want to read them and then not get to the ending because he died. He's like, I'm only 78 years old. I'm not going to die tomorrow. I was like, you might. You don't look healthy.
Those books are too long.
I'm going to knock them out soon.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, good luck.
Well, do you think because the demand is so high that this might actually return
Return
at
how?
some point?
Well, they're doing a lot of prequels.
I don't know.
They're doing the prequels.
No, I understand that, but I mean, being that it kind of ended so
Yeah, I wouldn't be
disappointedly
surprised. I
wouldn't be surprised.
with
That was kinda
so
what I was
many
just saying.
questions. Will they say is okay, we need to readdress this because
HBO's not stupid. They know
It's-
what people will pay for and watch.
Okay, so you think it's over, it's done. Now they're doing the prequels, and that's going to be the end.
No, I think in a few years,
Yeah, I wouldn't
we'll
be
definitely see
surprised.
something.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, the
That's our
Mad King
game.
is dead.
That's the Mad Queen.
Mad
Yeah.
Queen is dead.
Done. No more. We're never mentioning it again.
That's it for Game of Thrones.
That's it.
See ya.
So until next time, remember.
Don't feed the geeks!